The US and Israel have killed the supreme leader of Iran and are continuing airstrikes across the country. But this is far from the first time that the US has intervened in the Middle East. In Iran itself, the US and Britain are remembered for supporting a 1953 coup, which removed Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, in a dispute over oil revenues. The coup brought Iran's Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, back from exile, and for over 2 decades Iran had good relations with the West and with Israel, but the Shah lost popularity and outlawed opposition parties. By 1979, economic and social pressures combined to bring about the Islamic Revolution. The Shah was forced from his country for the last time, and Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile to take power. A crucial episode in the souring of US-Iran relations took place soon after, when pro-government Iranian students occupied the US embassy in Tehran and took the staff hostage. Now kept as a museum to what Iran's government sees as a victory, the embassy's exterior is painted with anti-US graffiti, and protests against the US are held on anniversaries of the hostage-taking. The episode defined the administration of US President Jimmy Carter, who was voted out of office before the last of the hostages finally returned home in 1981. And the episode is still a painful memory for the US. A decade later, Washington intervened to push Iraqi forces out of neighbouring Kuwait, following a UN resolution. After a 1-month campaign which became known as the First Gulf War, the US and allies succeeded in their objectives. But the war, led by President George H.W. Bush, left Iraq's leader Saddam Hussein still in power. That was something Bush's son, George W. Bush, sought to change when he became US president. An American-led coalition invaded and occupied Iraq in 2003, arguing that Baghdad was developing weapons of mass destruction. This time, the US failed to get a UN mandate, putting it at odds with some allies. 3 years later, Saddam Hussein was captured and executed, but weapons of mass destruction were never found. Iraq descended into years of sectarian violence, and Iran, which had fought a major war against Iraq in the 1980s, ended up wielding greater influence than before. US troops left Iraq in 2011, only to return in smaller numbers to combat Islamic State group forces from 2014, with some still based in both Iraq and Syria to this day. President Trump has outlined several objectives for the current war against Iran, but the US history in the region shows that even when early victories come relatively easily, longer-term outcomes are more difficult to predict.